What if the best sales candidate in your interview isn't the best salesperson? What if they're simply the best prepared? What if AI helped them polish the stories, rehearse the role play, organize the examples, and sound exactly like the kind of hunter you want to hire? That's the new challenge. Because in today's sales hiring environment, you're not just interviewing the candidate. You may also be interviewing the candidate's AI. I'm Dr. Chris Croner, author of Never Hire a Bad Salesperson Again and principal of Sales Drive, where we help companies hire salespeople with the drive to grow revenue. In the last video, we talked about how AI can beat your best sales interview questions. Predictable questions create rehearsed answers. Rehearsed answers create confidence. Confidence creates false certainty, and false certainty creates bad hires. So what do you do now? You don't abandon the interview, but you do have to stop treating the interview like a performance. Because the goal isn't to find the candidate who sounds the best. The goal is to find the candidate who will produce revenue when the pressure is real. That means your interview has to move from polish to proof, from general answers to specific evidence, from impressive stories to behavioral patterns. Because a candidate can rehearse a story, but it's much harder to fake the details underneath the story. So when a candidate says, "I'm great at prospecting," don't move on, go deeper. Ask, how many new inbound touches did you make in a typical week? What percentage were cold? What happened when prospects ignored you? What do your activity reports show? See, that's where the truth starts to appear. Or when a candidate says, "I'm competitive," don't accept their word. Ask, so what number were you trying to beat? Where did you rank on your sales team? What did you do when someone else was ahead of you? You see, because real competitiveness has a trail. It shows up in choices. It shows up in persistence. It shows up when nobody is applauding. When a candidate says, "I'm resilient," don't ask whether they handle rejection. Everybody says yes. Instead, ask, so tell me about a time you were behind quota. What did you do first? What changed in your behavior? How long did it take to recover? Because resilience isn't a speech, it's a pattern. And revenue comes from patterns, not interview moments. That's the key shift. AI can help a candidate sound sharp for an hour, but it can't give them years of genuine need for achievement. It can't manufacture real competitiveness. It can't create authentic optimism under rejection. And it can't make a low drive person consistently hunt when the market's cold, the pipeline's thin, and the easy excuses are everywhere. That's why the best interview process now has to test consistency. Ask about the same trait from different angles. Ask for numbers. Ask what they personally did, not what the team did. And then listen for friction. Real stories are rarely perfect. Real producers remember the hard parts. They remember the pressure. They remember the missed deals. They remember the competitor who beat them. They remember what they changed. Rehearsed performers often stay clean, polished, and vague. They sound impressive until you ask for depth. That's where the interview becomes useful again. Not as a stage, as an investigation. Because your real question isn't, can this person interview well? Your real question is, will this person create revenue after the excitement of being hired is gone? That's the question AI makes more important than ever. And that's why the interview alone is no longer enough. You need better probing. You need behavioral evidence. You need an objective way to understand whether the candidate has the drive to do the job after the interview's over. The DriveTest is our online sales assessment that measures 3 non-teachable characteristics tied to sustained sales performance: need for achievement, competitiveness, and optimism. In other words, it helps you look beyond interview polish and identify whether the candidate has the internal drive to keep pursuing revenue when the answer is no. Use the link below this video to request a free drive test for your next sales candidate and see what your interview alone may be missing. It will change the way you hire salespeople.